So just to introduce the concept of organizational structure, this organizational structure basically serves as a backbone of any organization, providing a framework of how activities, roles, and responsibilities are distributed and coordinated within the organization. It essentially defines the hierarchy, reporting relationships, and communication channels that shape how work is performed and managed. Just, just to imagine an organizational structure as a blueprint or map that outlines the various departments, teams, and individuals within an organization, along with their interconnections and interactions. The structure basically helps in establishing clarity and order, ensuring that everyone understands their role and how they fit into the larger organizational objectives. The organizational structure can vary widely depending on factors such as the size of the organization, industry, culture, and strategic goals. Some common types of organizational structure include functional, divisional, matrix, and flat structures, each with its own advantages and challenges. A functional structure groups the employee based on their specialized functions or skills, such as marketing, finance, operations. In contrast, a divisional structure organizes employees into self contained divisions based on the product, services, or geographical regions. Matrix structure combines elements of both functional and divisional structure, allowing employees to report to multiple managers based on projects or functions. So, regardless of the specific type, a well designed organizational structure should promote efficiency, clarity, and accountability within the organization. It should facilitate communication and collaboration among employees, enable effective decision making, and support the organizations in achieving its strategic objectives. An organizational structure specifies the various job tasks and shows how the same are formally divided, grouped, and coordinated. So now we will discuss the formal and informal organizations. So the formal organizations refers to the official structure, hierarchy, and procedures established by an organization to accomplish its goals and objectives. It is typically documented in organizational charts, job descriptions, policies, and procedures. Some of the important characteristics of formal organization include: number one, hierarchy. Formal organizations have a clear defined hierarchy of authority with positions arranged in a hierarchical order from top management to frontline employees. Then, second important characteristic is division of labor. Work tasks and responsibilities are divided among individuals and departments based on specialization skills and expertise. This division of labor helps to promote efficiency and productivity. Third important characteristic is rules and procedures. The formal organizations have established rules and policies and procedures that govern how work is performed, decisions are made, and conflicts are resolved. These rules provide structure and consistency to organizational processes. Then, fourth important characteristic is communication channels. The formal organization have formalized communication channels that dictate how information flows within the organization, typically following the chain of command. Then, in case of informal organizations, first let me tell you what informal organization is, and then we will see the characteristics of informal organization. Informal organization basically refers to the unofficial relationships, networks, and interactions that exist among employees within an organization. It is based on social connections, shared norms, and personal affiliations rather than formal authority. And some of the characteristics of this type of informal organization are as under. The important characteristic is social network. This informal organizations is built on social networks and relationships formed among employees outside of formal structure. These, these networks may develop through common interests, friendships, or shared experiences. Second characteristic of this type of organization is grapevine communication. Informal organization often relies on informal communication channels such as grapevine, where information spreads through word of mouth rather than official channels. The third characteristic is emergent leadership. An informal organization leadership may emerge based on individual influence, expertise, rather than formal position or authority. Then one more important characteristic is group norms. The informal organizations is governed by group norms, values, and customs that guide behavior and interactions within informal network. These norms may differ from formal rules and procedures. Now we will see different types of organizations. For profit organizations, these are business established with the primary goal of making a profit, and they include sole proprietorship, owned and operated by a single individual. And the next is partnership, which is owned and operated by two or more individuals who share profits and liabilities. And third is corporations, basically owned by shareholders with a board of directors overseeing management. Basically, this comes under especially for the profitable organizations. And second, we have non-profit organizations. These organizations are established for charitable, educational, religious, and other non-commercial purposes. Basically, our universities fall under the non-profit organizations, and basically it includes charities or the grants, which is focused on providing assistance or support to individuals or communities in need. Educational institutions provide formal education and training, such as schools, colleges, and universities. And we have foundations under this category, which fund charitable activities and initiatives through grants and donations. Third type of organization is government organizations. These are entities established and funded by the government to provide public services and administer government policies. They include federal government agencies, which are responsible for governing at the national level, such as Department of Defense or Environment Protection Agency. And second category under this is state or the local government agencies, which are responsible for governing at the state or local levels, such as departments of transportation or health. Fourth in the category is international organizations. These organizations operate across national borders and may focus on various issues such as diplomacy, humanitarian aid, or economic development. And the example can be simple: United Nations, World Bank, and International Red Cross Society. Then we have social enterprises. These organizations basically aim to achieve social or environmental objectives while also generating revenue. They may operate as for profit or non-profit entities and include corporations, which are certified companies that meet certain social and environmental performance standards. It also includes social cooperatives, where the member owned businesses that operates for the benefit of the members and the community. And then we have professional associations. These organizations bring together individuals in a particular profession or industry to promote professional development, networking, and advocacy. The example can be simply bar association for lawyers or medical association for healthcare professionals. Or we have Indian Library Association or Indian Special Libraries Association or Teachers Library Association in the libraries for the same. Then we'll discuss the elements of organizational structure. The elements of organizational structure normally, the key elements of organizational structure define how an organization's activities, roles, and relationships are organized and coordinated. These elements basically provide the framework for effective functioning. And the elements are number one, hierarchy. This refers to the level of authority and responsibility within the organization. It establishes who reports to whom and outlines the chain of command from top management to frontline employees. In a library, there is typically a hierarchical structure that includes positions such as library director, library heads of with various sections, reference, circulation, cataloging, and support staff, example library assistants, clerks, etc. The hierarchy establishes reporting relationships and lines of authority with the library director at the top overseeing the entire operation. Then the second element is departmentalization. Organizational activities are grouped into departments or units based on the functions, products, services, geography, or customer segment. Departmentalization help to streamline operations, improve coordination, and facilitate specialization. The libraries often employed departmentalization based on the functions or services. For example, there may be separate departments for reference, circulation, acquisition, cataloging, technical services. Third important element is the span of control. This refers to the number of subordinates that a manager directly supervises. The wider span of control means fewer level of management, while a narrower span of control means more levels. The optimal span of control depends on factors such as complexity of tasks and the level of autonomy required. The span of control in a library may vary depending on its size and complexity. For instance, a smaller library may have a narrower span of control with departmental heads directly supervising a smaller number of staff members, whereas a larger library may have a wider span of control with the department heads overseeing multiple teams or units. And then we have the element of centralization and decentralization. Centralization basically involves concentrating decision making authority at the top of the organization, while decentralization involves delegating decision making authorities to lower level. The degree of centralization or decentralization depends on factors such as organizational size, complexity, and culture. A library system may vary in terms of centralization and decentralization. In some libraries, decision making authorities centralized at the top, with the library director or governing board making key decisions for the entire organization, whereas in other type of libraries, decision making authority may be decentralized, allowing individual departments or branches to make decisions based on the local needs and priorities. Another important element is formalization. Basically, this formalization refers to the extent to which rules, procedures, and processes are codified and followed within the organization. Highly formalized organizations have clear guidelines and standardized procedures while less formalized organizations allow more flexibility and discretion. Libraries often have formalized rules, procedures, and policies governing various aspects of their operation, such as collection development policies, circulation policies, and cataloging standards. These formalized processes help ensure consistency and efficiency in library operations. The next element is matrix structure. In some organizations, particularly large or complex one, a matrix structure may be used. This combines functional and project-based structures, allowing employees to report to both functional managers and project managers. Matrix structures help to facilitate collaboration and resource sharing across departments. In larger library system or the academic libraries, a matrix structure may be used to facilitate collaboration and coordination across departments or functional areas. For example, librarians may belong to both subject-specific teams, so example science and humanities, and functional teams, that is collection development or instructions. Next and the last, we have organizational culture. This refers to the shared value, belief, norms, and practices that define the organization's identity and guide behavior. Organizational culture influences how work is performed, decisions are made, and conflicts are resolved. It plays a critical role in shaping employees' attitude and behavior. The library culture often emphasizes values such as intellectual freedom, access to information, and services to the community. Libraries may foster a culture of collaboration, innovation, and lifelong learning, encouraging employees to pursue professional development and stay abreast with the development in the field. And now we'll discuss what is centralized and what is decentralized. So, what are the characteristics of the centralized? Centralized refers to the hierarchy, especially the hierarchical organizational structure, where the decision-making authority is concentrated at the top levels of management. In such structures, key decisions are made by the select group of individuals or by a single authority, often at the apex of the organizational hierarchy. The important characteristics are coordination and alignment. Effective coordination mechanisms are required to ensure that centralized decisions align with overall organizational goals and strategies. Then another characteristics is consistency and standardization. Decentralization may lead to inconsistencies and variations in the policies, procedures, and practices across different parts of the organization. Then third important characteristics is risk of duplication. Decentralized structures may result in duplication of efforts and resources if coordination is insufficient. Then communication challenges. Decentralization requires effective communication channels and information sharing mechanism to ensure that relevant information reaches all stakeholders. And the last is accountability issue. Decentralization can make it challenging to hold individuals or teams accountable for their decisions, especially if decision-making processes are not clearly defined. And now we'll discuss the advantages of centralization. The advantages are coordination and alignment, as we have discussed. Effective coordination mechanisms are required to ensure that decentralized decisions align with overall organizational goals and strategies. Consistency and standardization. Uh, Decentralization may lead to inconsistencies and variation in policies, procedures, and practices across different parts of the organization. Again, the risk of duplication is there, and then communication challenges we have, and then we have accountability issues. Then what are the challenges and limitations of centralization? The bottlenecks are: the centralized decision making can lead to bottlenecks and delays, as all the decisions must be routed through the central authority. We have limited adaptability. The centralized structure may struggle to adapt to local or situational needs, as decisions are made based on centralized directives rather than local conditions. Third challenge is employees' disengagement. Lower level employees may feel disengaged or demotivated if they perceive limited opportunities for input or autonomy in decision making. And the last and important challenge is risk of information distortion. Centralized communication channels may result in information distortion or losses as it passes through multiple levels of hierarchy. Now we'll discuss the characteristics of a decentralized organizational structure. This decentralization in the organizational structure refers to the distribution of decision-making authority across various levels within an organization. Unlike centralized structures where decision-making power is concentrated at the top, decentralized structures empower lower level managers or teams to make number two, this is local decisions. Making lower level managers or teams have the authority to make decisions based on their understanding of local conditions and requirements. Third, horizontal communication. Decentralized structure facilitate horizontal communication, enabling information sharing and collaboration across different levels and departments. Fourth, flexibility and adaptability. Decentralization promotes flexibility and adaptability, as decisions can be made quickly in response to local needs and changing circumstances. Next, we have employee empowerment. Decentralized structures empower employees, fostering a sense of ownership, responsibility, and engagement in decision-making processes. Then now we'll discuss the advantages of decentralization. And number one, empowerment and engagement. Decentralization fosters employees' empowerment and engagement by giving them greater responsibility and autonomy in decision making. Then next important advantage is innovation and creativity. And local decision making encourages innovation and creativity, as employees have the freedom to experiment and propose new ideas. Third important thing is local responsiveness. Decentralized structures enable organizations to respond more promptly to local conditions and customer needs, leading to improved customer satisfaction. Another advantage is efficiency and agility. Decentralization can improve efficiency and agility by reducing bureaucratic layers and enabling faster decision-making processes. Then another advantage is development of leadership skills. Decentralization basically provides opportunities for lower level managers to develop leadership skills and gain valuable experience in decision making and problem solving. So we have again challenges, almost similar type of challenges here for the decentralization also. There is coordination and alignment, consistency and standardization. Risk of duplication is again there. Communication challenges are there, and accountability issues are there. So those challenges almost remains the same in case of the centralization structures as well as in the decentralization structures. So one has to be very cautious whether we are going for the centralized model or we are going for the decentralized one, because both the processes, they have their advantages and disadvantages. Both have the challenges, so the organizations have to be very careful while choosing any one among these two.